All right, hello. My voice is really bad because I was crying earlier. I was having a bad day because I was stressed out. I was trying to study and then I had a distraction and I got really stressed and I had a breakdown, like a mental breakdown. And yeah, I was crying the whole time and I couldn't study anymore because I was feeling so stressed and tired. And all I wanted to do was study, but couldn't even study in peace before my test. So yeah. But I finally got to study and I'm about to do my anthro quiz because I'm finished apparently. Pretty much. Pretty much finished. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna review for the quiz before I take the quiz and head off to sleep. And yeah, I feel a lot better now because once you have someone, if you want to have people around you who take care of you and feed you well, once you like eat food and surround yourself with good, positive people, you start feeling better and just kind of like reach out for help. There's people who help you and are able to support you throughout the bad times in your life, not stress you out. And it's really helpful. And it motivates you to study and motivates you to do really good. So yeah. I have a couple of things to discuss. Actually, I didn't prepare for this before I clicked the go live, so sorry. Let me do this real quick. It's probably gonna take not really quick, but sorry. I just forgot. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Seems like I am done. And now I can discuss Anthro before I take my quiz. Promise. I was gonna sleep at 12, so I'm gonna hurry up and then take the quiz. So first one talking about the modules. So the modules about primates, right? And primates are basically the word primate derives from the Latin word for of first rank. So pretty much it's where we are derived from. Primatologists achieve insights on human evolution through comparisons to other primate species, but they try to guard against anthropomorphism, which is imposition of human characteristics to non-human animals. So I guess like trying to like derive everything. I don't even know. Let me search it up. Anthropomorphism. Attributes of human characteristics or behavior to a god, animal, or object. So I guess like trying to compare humans to animals, um, rather than just kind of like looking at it for a evolutionary standpoint. So traditional taxonomies of primates compare phenotypes, which is like the 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 traits, like physical traits of humans using morphology, which is like the shape, size, form of whatever we're studying. So we're just about cladistics. We already talked about this in biology, but I'm gonna go over it again because it's an anthro. It's the assessment of shared and derived characteristics. So homologies are shared derived traits due to ancestry, it's like common ancestry, and homoplasy is shared characteristics but not present in the common ancestor. And basically, taxonomists have to pretty much distinguish between these two, or they will incorrectly attribute convergent traits as coming from the ancestors. So, like a lot of traits, a lot of homoplasies are shared within species because of convergent evolution, which is like the traits came from like different ancestors and now the species just all have the same traits instead of like coming from the same ancestor. So they better the taxonomists have to make sure that it's not a homology. Just because it's a homoplasy doesn't mean it's a homology, basically. So we're gonna talk about some primate characteristics. So we got visual acuity, we got 3D vision. So primates are not reliant on smell. Our sense of smell isn't like that good, but our vision is very good, and it really helps us with being a diurnal, which is basically means that we're active during the day as opposed to being nocturnal. So our body function and modifications were prehensile, which means our hands are grasping, and we got 5 digits and dermal pads and ridges with nerve fibers to help with our sense of touch, opposable thumb, and kind of halfway opposable toe. We don't have one, but a lot of primates do. So we have dietary adaptations. So we're omnivores, 4 types of teeth. We got incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. And the human maxilla has the old world dental formula. And we have a complex brain. So we have the higher cephalic index, which is basically a brain to body size ratio. We also have a parental investment and social adaptations. So what differs us from other animals is we got longer gestation times, fewer offspring, which means more parental care, and we have one offspring at a time. And then a long period of infant dependency, and we create affiliation and prevent agonism. Agonism is basically like a aggressive, violent survivalist behavior, but we prevent that through grooming, which kind of helps bond a little bit. And then generally live in social groups. So primates can enter a reproductive maturity level. So, and then when that happens, selected members leave the group, which is called dispersal. And I'm going to underline that in green. Okay, we're already finished with the first half in 8 minutes. So, yeah. Okay. Second part, we're going to talk about hominin origins. So, what's a hominin? Hominin is a bipedal primate that walk upright. So, example of that would be Homo sapiens because we walk upright and we're primates. So what are the characteristics of hominins? We have bipedalism, tool use, dental adaptation, and bigger brain. First, we're going to jump into bipedalism, which is walking on 2 digits, or not digits, I want to say 2 limbs, or lower limbs. So what this allows for is we have increased height. So evolutionary standpoint, we can look taller, we can be taller and look over like the fields and like the grasses. So we can kind of wander out more and look for more resources and things. And we can also have carrying ability from our hands. Since we have 4 limbs, we only walk on 2, we can use the other 2 limbs to carry things back to where we came from. There's heat efficiency, which means we dissipate heat faster and we have less exposure to the solar radiation. There's evidence of all of these things through our body. So we have a basin shaped pelvis, inward angled femur, we have a big toe, the size of the big toe, and it's also in line with the other toes. And then there's also a foot arch. So basically, what I mean by this is like the feet and the hands are completely different, and the toe is like aligned with every like the other toes, the big toe. And the foramen magnum is repositioned further underneath the skull, resulting in less balanced head, which basically means is there's the head is less balanced, which means there's less like muscle, like important muscle to keep the head aligned on the head. And what this means is that we're already standing upright, there's less muscles required for us to keep our head like in place. So like imagine if we were on all fours, we would need to have like specific muscles to keep our head like kind of like upright. But since we're standing up, our head is already upright, like it's already balanced on our head, so we don't really need all those unnecessary muscles to be working as hard to keep our head upright if we're going to be standing up in the first place. And then the last thing is we have a backward thoracic and forward lumbar curve of our S-shaped spine. So yeah. And okay, so the second thing is we make and use tools. So early tool makers use stone for napping, not napping like not napping like the what I want to do right now, but napping as in Knapping. Basically, this is breaking apart pieces of stone from a piece of stone. So we have it basically involves hard hammer percussion, which is like removing broad flakes using round hard rock. So it's like a huge rock. You're removing like parts of it using a rock. And this basically helps with core reduction, which is removing large flakes from a harder object that strikes the core. So if you strike the core, it's a larger flake that breaks off. Basically, a flake is a piece of stone removed from the core, and this can result in a aldo wand. And it's a multi-purpose tool created from napping. So you could use this for like stabbing, you could use it for blunt force, you could use it for crushing. Basically, very multi-purpose. I would love to use that, but yeah, cool. We have dental adaptations. Give me a second. I need to send a text. No. Okay. So we're finished with the making use tool section. So the next is dental adaptations. Basically, we have a reduction in the tooth size, and we have adaptations for grinding more than shearing. So like the the dietary changes that we had, we don't really have to tear apart meat anymore. We just more like kind of chew. We have the changes in cranium shape, and the jaws and teeth moved underneath the cranium, and then also more room in a parabolic shape in the jaw for the dental adaptations due to our dietary adaptations. Then we have our brain size. So of course our brains have grown bigger, we have a larger cranial capacity. So not only does our brain change, not only does our cranium change, but our entire bodies change. Like our entire head has to change to adapt to the increased cranial capacity. Okay, so second to last thing we gotta talk about dating and identifying fossils. There's two types of dating, like we've already mentioned on before. We have relative dating, which is basically it's just relative, so it only tells you if this is like if a object is older or younger. It doesn't really tell you a type of year, but chronometric dating can help with identifying year of how old it is or what time period it's from, and this just kind of like is coming from radioactive decay. So there's four types of, I guess, primates found in Africa. So there's Ardipithecus remidis. I'm not gonna read all of them out. You can read it yourself if you want to like be interested. But I'm gonna move on to the next thing, which is gracile and robust Australopiths. So there's gracile and robust. So the difference between those, gracile Australopiths have kind of, I think the genus name Australopithecus, right? Australopithecus, sorry. And there's the three species Afarensis, Africanus, and Seditia, and they're smaller and lighter than the robust ones, and their brains are average 430 centimeter cubic centimeter. Okay, and then the robust one is the genus name is Paranthropus. So we got the robustus, the Boise, and the Aethiopicus, and they're larger, and their brains are on average 540 cubic centimeters. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I can finish it in 15 minutes. Take the next 5 minutes to do the quiz, and then I'm gonna go right back to sleep, and we can beat the chemistry exam tomorrow. Okay, thank you for being a great YouTube stream. I'm gonna go now. Bye.